try from the top. עוד יש מפרש לבן באופק מול ענן שחור כבד כל שנבקש לו יהי ויהי בחלונות הערב עוד נרות כיכב רועד כל שנבקש לו יהי לו יהי לו יהי הנ"ל לו יהי כל שנבקש לו יהי לו יהי לו יהי הנ"ל לו יהי כל שנבקש לו יהי. A white sail facing a black cloud can be seen in the distance, and through the distance the festive lights shimmer. All that we ask is, let it be. Lu Yehi.
There's a real sense of hope in the song. Yeah. We come together on a really difficult week. It's hard to believe that last Friday we were here on a joyous occasion. Celebrating Simchat Torah, we had many readers from near and far reading Torah for the first time, including virtually. Erwin, how did you do that? You somehow managed through technology to be able to do that. And to have everything go in completely different direction. This is our meeting place. Shabbat is our meeting place. We come together to be there for one another, to console one another, to mourn with one another, and to laugh with one another as well. Let's take a nice deep breath of Shabbat air. How blessed we are to be together. May this be a safe space, a joyful place, and may we send our prayers across the seas to where they're needed. I'd like to invite Bruce Chorus over to officially welcome you home.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Ooh, I'm loud. As Rabbi mentioned, and I talked about this Sunday night when we were together for our vigil, our world can change so quickly. When we were here last Friday night, this room was as joyful as I have ever seen it on a Friday night service. And then Saturday morning came, and we have been profoundly sad ever since. And that's when we need our family. And your temple family is here. I'm very pleased to see so many of you here tonight, and I'm pleased to see so many guests with us tonight. Our friend Reverend Bill Hennessy is here with us tonight from North Presbyterian.
And
Thank
Bruce,
you.
next to him we have a friend, Reverend Dan Trippi, who's a new friend of mine.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you both for being here. This is when we need our family, and our temple family is here at a time like this for comfort, to help each other get through this. And many people have asked this week, well, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? And of course, the biggest thing that we can do other than praying for everyone is the financial help is what's needed, and which is why I'm so proud. You might have seen the flyers out in the hall. We're doing a very special benefit concert for Israel coming up a week from Tuesday. I'll let the cantor talk about that because this is her work. But it's going to be a wonderful evening and really meaningful. So I'll let her talk about that. And then, don't sit, talk about the concert.
Right now?
Yeah, talk about it. And then I'll be back later with the
Do we have any
announcements.
of the flyers?
They're outside. They're outside. We'll make sure
And
people
Did
get
you
them.
grab one?
Yeah.
Thanks.
But it's also in their leaflet.
Oh, it is in the leaflet as
It's stand up on the back of the leaflet.
Well, not a flyer, though.
It has a lot of the details, though.
Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna gather. The whole of Buffalo Jewish community is behind this. We have sponsors through every umbrella, every organization, every branch of Jewish Buffalo. And we have quite a lot of talents. We have Jay Dreff is coming to be here for the concert for us. Ken Kaufman, I myself, Roman Mekanulov, who is first chair cellist of the BPO, absolute world-class cellist. We're going to be doing very meaningful music, and we hope many of you can make it. I think it should do the deceased and the suffering great honor. The selections that we have planned and the demeanor of the whole event. Johnny C's is providing a beautiful refreshments for us afterwards, and which is very, very generous of them. And we will be raising money, going directly to Magen David Adon, which is the Israeli equivalent of the Red Cross. It's the red Jewish star, Magen David. And we're hoping to raise enough money to buy a piece of equipment that they really need, perhaps even a motorcycle. And we're looking for corporate sponsors. If you know anyone that could help to, help with the under the swelling of it to get it going. So grab a leaflet, check it out online. There's a QR code directly on the flyer and in all live QR code, also in all of the virtual flyers, so that you can donate directly to this cause.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful, and it's a lot of teamwork that put it together.
A lot of people involved. There's some other groups that are coming, and just a lot of meaningful material.
Well, why don't we bring in the angels of Shabbat? These angels are supposed to help us relieve the tension of the week, of the month, definitely of the week. And we'll turn to page 142, Shalom Aleichem. We welcome them with open arms, our angels of Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachunil Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
How wonderful it is to sing the familiar songs. For many of us in the Jewish world, Shalom Aleichem has been a staple maybe for generations, and especially that melody. I think it's really important to do the familiar at this time. This was a week of many things. One of the things that I felt was the darkness of not only what's going on in the world and Israel, but also the change in light. I noticed that this morning as I was walking the dogs. I wrote this poem, which is about this period but it's also just about being here in October. It's called Dusk in October of 2023. When the dark comes, it seeps into everything. Morning is no longer morning. She becomes a heavy veil like the one I once saw a woman wear on her wedding day. When the dark comes, even the sunniest of skies becomes blinding. Shadows and shade a refuge. When the dark comes, taste buds sour, our hearts turn directionless. When the dark comes, friendly faces appear aloof, anger boiling at every casual glance. When the dark comes, even hello becomes too much, goodbye the greatest of joys. When the dark comes, light feels light years away, hope a star taunting from the heavens. When the dark comes, every consolation becomes a curse, every smirk, every smile a smirk. When the dark comes, sit in it, unmoving. In time, the day will return over the distant sky like scattered leaves after the heaviest of storms. When the dark comes, let it. In its own way, it offers us balm. We turn to the lighting of the candles. That is our way of extending light even in dark times. The candle blessing is on page 120. And do we have anyone who is feeling they need to light candles today? And yeah, please, Gail. Gail, who's done so much for our community, who is a light. She's a light to me, an inspiration. And I hope we have proper matches.
Me too.
I don't know if you heard the recording of your father last
Yeah,
week.
very impressive.
Yeah.
It's a chip off the old block.
Oh, I think she's saying she wants to read Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu mitzvotav v'tzilumanu v'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you candles who light our way through Shabbat. If you want to lift up the cup there. And Cantor will lead us in the Kiddush on page 123.
You can just do it anyway
We
you
can do
like.
it together.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri agafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'rotzav banu v'shavar kosher v'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom tehillah levikra'e kodesh sefer tziyah Mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta Yotanu kidashta Mikol ha'olim B'shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava u'b'ratzon Inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. It is
Great
good.
year.
Yeah. I think it's Manischewitz, but it's white wine, so it's very nice and sweet.
Cheers. Yes, it is.
It's good. Before, when we were giving the red sweet stuff, like the Manischewitz, people would put it they put it down. This one is good, actually. All right. Thank you, Gail. Really appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. I always think we think about when we raise our cup and we sanctify the day, we evoke the memory of creation, which we're reading about tonight, and also the crossing of the sea. That's the two moments where we're thinking about Shabbat, because we get the manna after you cross and the Ten Commandments, and also the God rests on the seventh day. And I never thought about this, but when you drink something, like something that's comforting, I mean, you do a ritual, it has the taste of something, like a memory. And I realized that we invoke this memory, this powerful memory of our past. So it's as if we're tasting a little taste of that, and it kind of brings it back to us. So we are going to now welcome in Shabbat with Lecha Dodi on page 138. And what we do here is we're going to do the first, second, fifth, and ninth verses. If you're familiar with this prayer, I know we're familiar, but just remember each of the verses, the first letter in the Hebrew actually spells out the person who wrote it. But we're not going to do the full prayer, just the first, second, fifth, and ninth.
Actually, we're just doing
First and second.
we're doing 8 and 9. This is the Lincoln's Nagun.
Okay, so we're
Do
doing.
you have the right? The Lincoln's Nagun. Yeah. Oh, whatever. Yeah. There's no details in that.
Okay, so we're doing 8 and 9. So on the ninth verse, we're going to rise and face the doorway. We welcome Shabbat into the room. We bow to Shabbat as she enters, and then we welcome Shabbat by waving at one another, welcome each other into the room. So again, 8th and 9th verse.
Yamin small tivroti vit Adonai ta'ariti al yadich ben parti ben ismecha v'nagila horem hadori likrat kalam v'nishaman nekabela horem hadori likrat kalam v'nishaman nekabela Boi v'shalom ateret balam Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola Toch emunei am segula Boi kala Holech Adori likrat kala B'nei shaman nekamela Holech Adori likrat kala B'nei shaman nekamela B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We remain standing for our call of community, page 146, the Baruch Hu.
La 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 ya la 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 Sing it with me. Ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Ya la la
read below the line on page 147. Sorry, not below the line. The second reading on page 147. O God. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthest most star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light, the warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Oh, let our desires be so strong that we'll tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. We continue with God of creation, evoking Breshit, which we have tonight, and it's on page 148 at the top.
The Hebrew is there, and then the English gets a little bit poetic. It won't be literally, but it is, for the most part, expressed in the English that you have on the page. Page 148. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bivaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokhma b'teha God of creation, who makes the evening fall from light into darkness with the setting of the sun, you unfold the heavens with brilliant moon and stars and wrap our souls in peace. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bivaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokhma b'teha sheharim Baruch atah Adonai Ha'amariv aravim. The last time I sang this was in Jerusalem, at the wall, for a Erev Shabbat service.
Beautiful. Let's turn to the Shema, page 152, 153, as we say our prayer of unity and peace, Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. We turn to the words of Deuteronomy 6, page 154, V'ahavta.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha ובכל נפשך, ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברתם בם בשבתך ובביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאור ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Let's read together on 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. We turn to a prayer for peace. In the evening, often we're thinking about being on guard. It's particularly a time before there was electricity. And the prayer that's on page 160, Ufros aleinu sukkah shlumecha, please God, bring us in our darkness a sukkah, a dwelling place of peace.
So it's the third line down on page 160, the third line down, Ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukkah, sukkah shlomecha. Try with me. Ufros aleinu sukkah, sukkah shlomecha. Yanai lanai, yanai lanai, yanai lanai lanai lanai, yanai lanai, yanai lanai, yanai lanai lanai lanai. Ufros aleinu sukkah, sukkah shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukkah, sukkah shlomecha. Yanai lanai, yanai lanai, yanai lanai lanai lanai, yanai lanai, yanai lanai, yanai lanai lanai lanai. One more time, ulai lalais. Yanai lanai, yanai lanai, yanai lanai lanai lanai, yanai lanai, yanai lanai, yanai lanai lanai lanai.
invite you to rise if you're able. We'll have an opportunity for our silent prayers from 164 to page 180. Use the Hebrew, English, or just your own private prayers, and whenever you're ready, you may be seated. We're going to continue with a prayer for peace, Oseh Shalom, which is on page 180. The prayer is saying God is the maker of peace, but we also know we make peace. We need to find the peace, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom Bimrama, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
May the God of heavens bring us peace soon when we need it. In front of us on the table, we've had a custom lately of using stones as a form of prayer, and we have some prayer stones, I guess we could say. They're with blue and white for Israel. We're going to invite you as we go to our prayer for healing. If you want to put stones for people that you're thinking about, for Israel itself, or for our world, feel free to do that as we go around now and throughout the rest of the service. As a community, we have our list of people that we're thinking of. The prayer itself is on page 371. After I read the list of names, we will have a chance to go around. We're thinking as a community of from Ackerholt, Eric Bernard, Gary Bernstein, Stephen Bernstein, Colleen Cohen, Shelley Cordiero, Sue Diath, David Denzel, Jan Drucker, Nancy Durkin, Wissam El-Malki, David Fierstein, Sue Frank, Michael Gettings, Marlene Glickman, Carolyn and Ernie Grosser, Hillary Hurwitz, Ellen Kaminsky, Colleen and Ruth Kane, Ken Kellick, Mark Nightinger, Jim Kiles, Richard LeBaire, Miles Levy, Fanny Markel, Nancy and Cindy Millman, Aaron Nevler, Joan Ohlendorf, Jo Marie Powers, Maddie Rinzenberg, Shel Rossi, Brandon Ryan, Mary Scioli, Lorenzo Stewart, Judy Van Horn, Elaine Veshelevsky, Mike Wheeler, Alexander Woods, Gail Zaretsky, Chana Chaya Bat Zlatki, Nahum ben Yisrael V'chaya, Chana Ezra ben Shuel. If there's names that you're thinking about?
Sharon Walker.
Renee Klein, Sue Slade. Chief Master Sergeant Gerald Sheedy.
Gary Bernstein?
He's doing much better.
Yeah.
We'll bring all those names into our hearts and names also unspoken as we sing the Misha Berach.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishebach imotenu Mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, a renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
It's so wonderful to have Nick back, and really, really glad to have you here. Been here a full year, which is great. We're going to have an opportunity now to either turn to the person next to you, or some of you are more contemplative and like to process by yourself. But take a moment, a couple minutes really to think about what this week has been like. Think about how you've been feeling, what you've been feeling, and talk amongst yourself if you feel so comfortable. So let's come back together. If you're thinking about one word that you want to throw out, think about one word that you want to think about. What about emotions you've been feeling this week? And raise your hand whenever you have, and we'll call it out. Yeah.
Heartbroken. Devastated. Sad.
Anger.
Frustrated.
Worry.
Disappointed.
Felt kind of guilty that we had it so easy here and for their acceptance.
Angry.
Horror?
It's so important to share. Yeah, Mike.
Maybe misunderstood a teaching moment because I have found that people under 30 tend to look at it very one-sided because they have no concept of history.
It's a lot, when something happens, as we've seen other times too. I mean, this honestly is, when I talked on Channel 2, it was one of the worst days that I can ever remember in my life, and especially when it comes to Israel. We've been through a lot, but to have 12, almost 1,300 people who were murdered on one day, and we could say murdered, men and children and babies, it's horrifying. It's horrifying to even think about. And there are a lot of emotions. You might have had one emotion on Saturday, maybe numbness. You might have had another emotion on Sunday, maybe anger then. You might have had just disbelief on Monday. You might have felt the frustration by Tuesday. All of these kind of things are us processing together. And this is a space where we do that, where we have an opportunity to process. I know for me, a lot of people think, well, I know exactly what to say in these kind of moments, but I can tell you, whether it was on 514 or Tree of Life or this moment, that the first day I have no words. Honestly, it was the cantor here, because she has such a beautiful heart. And she called me on Saturday, and she said, I think we really need to do something. And that's what led to the service. But I was still in the what just happened, phase. And it takes a while for all of us. The language kind of catches up. how appropriate that somehow we're here back at the beginning of the Torah. This week, from last week, was Simchat Torah, where we finished the very end of the Torah and we began the Torah anew with Genesis. And then we moved to this work where we're again in Genesis. So we've sort of been frozen in this 1 week period. This doesn't always happen exactly like this. It's only when the holidays are on Shabbat. When it's on Shabbat, you have the reading, like we read Genesis, Erwin reading from afar, and we would read it again this week. So it sort of has a familiar path of going over it again. It's also something about the creation story has so much in it. It's not just one story, it's many different stories. You have several different stories of creation. You have the Garden of Eden story, which is a very different story, the eating of the fruit from the tree, and then, of course, Cain and Abel. And I want to just focus briefly on Cain and Abel. I was thinking about it. I had written this poem a couple of years ago. It's called Paradise Lost. And it was about that experience. When we think of Jewishly, the worst experience in Genesis is not the fruit, the first sin, as we'd say. It's the killing of Abel. That is the thing which makes us, when we're reading it, horrified. How could this have happened? What does it say about human beings? That the very first human beings are suddenly doing it, are killing one another. How does that reflect on who we are as a species? So this, again, is called Paradise Lost. Before Cain killed Abel, before fruit left table, before all your labels destroyed our fables, did we, all your children, have a world to stand on, to kick our sand upon without any real abandon? To try, if only perchance, questions we wanted to ask, whether goodness can last in our collective grasp. Or was destiny sealed before wonder was revealed, knowing that this fresh world had already been soiled? Did your uncovered voice leave us any real choice, allowing our kindness to uncover our blindness? Or did floods just enable the fall of all Abels, of fruit now disabled on empty tables? Let's take a moment just to look at that Cain and Abel, because I think it actually hits a lot of the emotions that we've had this week, and I want to read it. It's a very short part of the section. Some of you have these in your seats in front of you, so if you wanted to, it's on page 13 at the bottom. It's a very short section, but it really captures a lot about human behavior. It says, then Adam and Eve knew one another, and Eve conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have gotten a person with the help of the Lord. And again she bore his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of the sheep, and Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord, and Abel he also brought of the firstlings of the flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering, but unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? And if thou doest well, shall it not be lifted up? And if thou doest not well, sin crouches at the door, and unto thee in its desire, but thou mayest rule over it. And Cain spoke unto Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. What do you notice about this section, and why Cain was angry? Why did Cain slew Abel? Slew. Slay. Yeah, thank you. I feel like that's a tongue twister. Yes, Adrian. He was jealous. Go. Why was he jealous?
Because his brother got something that he thought he should have had.
God didn't accept Cain's offering in the same way that Abel's was. That there was a dynamic of jealousy between them. That there was a sense of, I worked hard. I tried my hardest. And God kind of tries to say, this is actually very obscure. The Hebrew, there is no understanding of it. But it says here that sin, if you do well, then your countenance will, I'll accept your thing. Just go back, work harder, it'll all be good. But if not, then sin is going to crouch at the door. We actually have no idea what that means, but it's that sense of jealousy, that there's a comparison between them. And that's what leads immediately to the first murder here. And I want to pick up on that because I feel like the vibe in the Jewish community, I've been hearing it a lot, is that feeling of, what about us? Other times, people, calamities happened in the world, and people came and they were felt supported. Ukrainian flags fly throughout Western New York. Where are the Jewish flags? What does it mean that in the New York Times that there's an equation of killings between different sides? How do we make sense of that? Has anyone been feeling things like this? It's okay. We're in a safe space here. And part of the reason I want to address this, and this is something I've heard quite a lot among the people closest to me in this world, it's a natural feeling. There's really that feeling after a calamity. How could this have happened? Why did it happen? Where were you for us? And I think that that's really natural emotions. And I want to express that that hasn't been my experience. Here we have two, Bill, we go way back, and we've been through a lot, and you're here, and you were there as well on Sunday at the JCC. Dan, a new friend of mine, is here. We had Al and Deb here the other day when we had our vigil together. And we have, at the JCC, we had many, many different friends. How many of you have had friends of yours from outside the Jewish world extend care to you? Mm-hmm. How many of you have felt supported by someone outside of our community? I think that sometimes the message is lost because there's so much stuff, there's so much emotion. I think what I've gotten is a constant stream of people reaching out, people from all walks of life. One of my children's teachers reached out to us this afternoon. We've had people from far away, close, people of all religions. I have had Muslim friends, several Muslim friends reach out to us. It's really kind of a constant motif. And I think that what's lost here in the Cain and the Abel story is that the anger boiled over so much there was no getting it back. We have to find ways to let people in. Israel is complicated, as I said in my high holiday sermon. Zeh mesubach. This is complicated what we're doing. And a lot of times people don't know how to respond. We need to give ways for people to respond. A lot of people here contributed to my nephew who's heading into Gaza. His unit needed, he's a paramedic, and his unit needed some extra supplies. We've had hundreds of thousands of dollars contributed to them. We're going to be having this concert in a week and a half. And that concert is a way not just for our community to gather together, but for other people to show their love and care. It's going to be complicated. The emotions that we have are complicated. But I want to just voice that we have received quite a lot of support. And when we don't receive support, go out. It's okay to say that you don't feel supported too. It's okay, but don't let the emotion sit there. Allow the emotion out. We don't want it to lead to bad relations. We want these time for us in Western New York to find each other, for us not to feel alone, not just to come together here with our friends and our family and our Jewish community, but to be joined by others. And the only way we do that is by opening our doors. Welcoming those people in, letting them know. A lot of times people don't walk into a synagogue because they don't know they can. It seems kind of funny, but if you've never been in a synagogue before, if you've never been in a place, unless you get an invitation for a B'nai Mitzvah party or service, often you're never going in, you don't feel comfortable there. It feels awkward. How do you dress? What do you wear? How do you talk? Would we be welcomed in? So welcome them in. Go to your extended family network, extended community network. Find them. Don't grieve alone. Don't do what Cain did. Cain crumpled into himself. Find each other. I'm going to come back up here, and I'd like to close with just reading the words of Susan Schwartz wrote some beautiful words in the Jewish Thought of the Week that really expressed a lot of how we were feeling. It's called Israel is Personal. Those of you know Susan, she's a wonderful writer and does so much in our community. And she was bat mitzvahed here, I believe. 3 days after the horrific massacre in Israel, I am reeling from the shock, feeling disbelief, anger, and worry. But mostly what I'm feeling is heartbreak. What happens in Israel is personal. My children were born outside of Akko. I have family and friends there. I listen to Israeli pop music daily. My ear is attuned to Hebrew, so whenever I overhear someone speaking Hebrew or English with an Israeli accent, I feel a connection. Although my feet are grounded in Buffalo, my heart is always in Israel. When my daughter Liat was born in 1984, I remember her, Savta, grandmother, saying with such hopefulness that her generation will finally know peace. Sadly, that has not been the case. In fact, Kibbutz Ein HaMefratz, my home for 8 years, is already mourning the loss of one of their own, a soldier who died earlier this week. Another family there is still waiting to hear from their daughter, who is attending the music festival. They are distraught as they don't know where she is or if she's alive. Israel is a very small country. The idea of 6 degrees of separation, that all people are 6 or fewer social connections away from each other, is more like 2 or 3 in Israel. Everyone knows someone who has died, is missing, or has been called up to the reserves. Then imagine that on one day, over 900 Israelis, and she had written this earlier in the week, were murdered, the largest number of Jews killed in one day since the Holocaust. Speaking with my Israeli family, they have confirmed that we are hearing what we are hearing in the news. They are preparing for a long war and many more deaths. It is ironic that this tragedy fell on the joyous holiday of Simchat Torah, the joy of Torah, and for some, the holiday of the heart. I've always loved the tradition of unrolling the entire scroll, reading the last verse of Deuteronomy from one end and beginning again with the very first verse in Genesis. There's a beautiful connection between the last and the first Hebrew words. The last word in the Torah is Yisrael, Israel. The last letter is a lamed. The first word of the Torah is Breshit, beginning. The first letter is a bet. Together they form the word lev, heart. This might suggest that the entire Torah, from the first letter to the last, reveals the heart and love of God for us. A reminder as well that the heart of Torah lies in starting it again and studying it anew year after year. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, Zichrono Livracha's memory be a blessing, wrote that as long as the Jewish people never stop learning, the Jewish heart will never stop beating. He believed that there hadn't been another book that had sustained a people longer. As we begin the Torah reading cycle once again with the creation story, hopefully Jewish communities here and in Israel will find comfort and inspiration in the familiar lines, and they can start to rebuild their lives in the aftermaths of such atrocity. Thank you, Susan, for those beautiful words. We're going to continue now with our services, and we are ready. Oh, we have a prayer for peace. So look in your leaflet here. This is by David Wolpe, who had just retired, the Rabbi Emeritus out of LA. I think it's Temple Sinai in LA. Let's read this together. It's on the back cover. El Malei Rachamim, compassionate God, we pray not to wipe out haters, but to banish hatred, not to destroy sinners, but to lessen sin. Our prayers are not for a perfect word, but a better one, where parents are not bereaved by the savagery of sudden attacks of children orphaned, by blades glinting in a noonday sun. Help us, dear God, to have the courage to remain strong, to stand fast. Spread your light on the dark hearts of the slayers and your comfort to the bereaved hearts of families of the slain. Let calm return to your city, Jerusalem, and to Israel, your blessed land. We grieve with those wounded in body and spirit. Pray for the fortitude of our sisters and brothers, and ask you to awaken the world to our struggle and help us bring peace. Amen. We rise now for Aleinu, page 586 in our prayer books, as we say it's not enough for us to just pray. We need to go out and make this world better. 586.
עלינו לשבח לדרך, לתת קדרה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו איש בכל הדבר, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגובדנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשחררים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
You may be seated. I forgot to pass around. We have two etrogs we hadn't taken out of the box, so I'm going to pass these around if you'd like. This is our citron. Hopefully it'll bring us some joy and ease our spirits. And they'll go in the ark. We're going to turn to our Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. We lost a beloved member of the Buffalo community, Howard Wolf. His daughter is an Israeli. I got to meet her today, and her children, her husband, wonderful family. Howard was a terrific writer and speaker in the Buffalo area, and you can read more about him. There's going to be a write-up on Monday. We're also remembering Lenore Bleckman, Eleanor Bloom, Ariel Goldstein, Annette Callett, Marilyn Kent, Diane Simons, and Colette Zappia, all who died in the last month. We add also all those 1,300 lives in Israel. On our yahrzeit list, we remember Joshua Anbar, Ben Antonoff, John W. Atkinson, Mary Jane Atkinson, Esther Bates, Ida Benson, Philip Bookbinder, Max Brown, Sarah Cohen, Bonnie Sandler Feynman, Alan Gilman, Benjamin Green, Dora Heskins, Mark G. Hirschhorn, Gittel Hutner, Mark Nightinger Jr., Frank Nightinger Jr., Frank Nightinger Sr., Pauline W. Lindenfeld, Arlene Millman, Anthony Page, Anna Rosenthal, Neil Rudin, Annette Schaefer, Norman Schulman, Minnie Baker Silverman, Ruben Sunshine, Louis Topkin, Stephen Weinstein, Charles Weitzner, Erwin Weiner, Bernard Zinderman, and Joan Zinderman. If there's other people that you're thinking about that you want to mention, just raise your hand. All those whose custom it is to rise. Again, it's on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash me'raba v'alma divrach urte v'yamlik malchute v'chayachon v'yamachon v'chayed v'chol beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kariv yamru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Barach Leolam Olmeo Maya. Yitbarak, V'yishtabak, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shemei Dekudusha, Barechu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tush v'chata v'nechamata, damiran b'alma v'yimuramin, yehi shlamar rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimuramin, oseh shalom v'yimuramav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony and high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all the world, and we say amen. You may be seated, Zikronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Bruce is going to give our announcements.
Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. Thank you, of course, to Rabbi Alex Cantor-Frank and Nick Stelzer for, I think the word tonight would be meaningful, a really meaningful service tonight, one that we very much needed. Thank you for that. Thank you to Sheila Bernard-Tucker and Cindy Rotella for greeting people this evening. It's always nice to be greeted with a smile. Thank you both. As the cantor mentioned earlier, we have our Stand Up for Israel concert coming up Tuesday, October 24th. That's at 7 o'clock p.m. All the proceeds will go to, how is that pronounced? Magin David Aron. Adon, which is basically the Israeli Red Cross. For emergency services. Our suggested donation is $36 a ticket, and we hope to raise enough money to purchase badly needed equipment. So please come and please support that very important night. Tickets will be available in the temple office and on our website. There's flyers on one of the tables outside. It also has a QR code. So please, again, the suggested donation is $36. If you'd like to give more than that, please do. Tomorrow morning, we have no virtual offerings. Torah study will be at 9:30 a.m. at Temple Beth Zedek, and the Shabbat morning service, 9 o'clock. Okay, then. You'll be late if you listen to me. Torah study will be at 9 o'clock at Temple Beth Zedek, and the Shabbat morning service and Kiddush luncheon will be at 10:45, also at Temple Beth Zedek. Life goes on, and temple functions continue. We have a Shavetas coming up the same day as the concert. We're going to end the Shavetas early to make sure everything is ready. But their next Shavetas, October 24th. If you pre-order, you're of course guaranteed of getting a meal. Thank you, as always, to the people that support our Shavetas and work for it and volunteer for it. It is, of course, a very important fundraiser for us. Our Buffalo Bills yarmulkes are back. They did us no good in London. If you already placed an order, please check in with us. If you'd like to order one, please see Joanne. Thank you to Terry Cohen for chairing the project. You'll appreciate this, Bill. All this week, all this month, our Tikkun Olam team is collecting food for the Thanksgiving food baskets. Our congregation and North Presbyterian have done the Thanksgiving food baskets for 40 years, maybe? Or more. It's one of the more important things that we do each year, and makes such a huge difference. Having been there on Sunday mornings when the organizations come and collect their meals, they're just overwhelmed. So please, all this month and into November, please donate the food that is needed for the Thanksgiving baskets. As we get closer, turkeys will be badly needed, and cash donations are always helpful as well. So thank you guys. Thank you to our Tikkun Olam team for honchoing that, and thank you for having this wonderful partnership with us. It's really a wonderful thing to do it. Let's see. Please support our annual giving campaign. Thank you to everyone that has already donated. We do appreciate your support for that. And thank you to our chair, Craig Small, for heading that up this year. You've noticed what's been going on out in the lobby. It is making progress. The doors are coming. They will be here at some point. I'm not promising when, but they're going to look great. They're wooden, and there's trim going up. The open area down at the end of the hall is being redone. We're going to come up with a nice name for that, by the way. It should have a special name, not just the open area. It's a room where we do a lot of stuff. We'll come up with a nice name for it. We'll dedicate it down the road when it is all done. But our 64-year-old building is getting a facelift, and it is badly needed. We have something special coming up on Friday nights starting in November. It is called Jews of All Hues, presented by our CSS Adult Education Committee and sponsored by Michael Berger. On the first Friday of each month, from November through June, we will be hosting a special Shabbat where we will highlight different regions of Judaism from around the world, followed by a special Oneg Shabbat catered by Bloom and Rose, which will feature a regional appetizer and a dessert reflective of that month's topic. So we will fill our minds and our stomachs with wonderful facets of Judaism from all over the world. It'll be wonderful. If you need anything at all, please feel free to reach out to Joanne, Todd, the cantor, the rabbi, or myself. We are here for you. Please join us in the social hall after services for tonight's Oneg. And there is not a day goes by that I am not grateful to be part of this temple family. And this week I have felt that more so. And I am so appreciative of all of you. And I'm so glad when our temple family can be there for each other. And thank you for being part of our temple family. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Bruce. Very, very nice. We're going to rise for the Hatikva. We have our Israeli flag there. It's page 678. 678. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. As you came in peace, may you leave in peace. Please return your prayer books, your Sidurim to the front, minus the leaflet. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.